I'm hoping Golden and Dart or Golden and RJ Harvey. Like
Yeah.
that's even though Golden looks just bad. They did the like promo pics. I hate the jersey number. His
Oh
helmet's
no.
too big. His chin
Oh
strap looks
no.
weird.
Oh no.
It kind of looks like a the friggin' emoji with the glasses and the buck teeth.
Oh no. Look like a
But
dude named Matthew Golden, huh? Let's see. I gotta find these fucking pictures here. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. I haven't even found what you're talking about. I'm just looking at
let
him,
me
you know.
see if I can.
Let's see what we got here. No, damn, dude. Not seeing anything with sporting attire.
Huh, that's weird.
22. You must have some exclusive fucking insider shit, you know? All right, I'm gonna check my phone and then we can do the damn thing.
Let's do it.
We got here. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah. That's funny.
Giving Big Sky Moore vibes.
That's for sure. Oh, that's rough, dude. Yeah.
I took a lease out on your heart. I took a lease out on your heart. Can I at least have fun? Can I at least have fun? Can I at least have fun? Welcome back, everybody. We are up there because you are the audience, and together we are on a quest for Dynasty Domination. How's it going over there, Daniel?
Oh, it's going great, man. Just living life. Got what, 4 out of 5 dynasty drafts out of my queue. So
Yeah,
feeling good, having fun. Yeah, pretty good. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Did you see or hear Peter's gotten his shame jersey?
I did see that. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
excited for that.
Are you aware of the jersey?
I something about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, it's an Atlanta Falcons Kirk Cousins
Oh,
jersey.
hell yeah.
I
Nice.
thought that was funny.
It is funny.
I can tell from your reaction that I was wrong.
No, no, no. It is funny. My hat looks crooked. That's what I'm worried about right this second. But it is funny.
I thought it
Um,
was funny too. Um,
I'm still sad that he didn't see my stuff and then didn't
oh
even
my
react
God.
when I
I
reposted
was,
it. Like, what is
what
that?
are we doing here, you know? What are we
Living in
like
his own
seriously? How are
world.
you gonna get all aggro about like everything going on in the
Right?
rookie process after, being like, we should draft closer to the
Yeah.
preseason and like there's not even looking in the chat to see the shame videos? Come
Yeah.
on,
Like, how do
Pete.
you
Come
just
on.
miss those? Because
You
we
need to wear that
talk about
Atlanta
them.
Falcons jersey every day. We tell you we're always talking about it.
Yeah.
There's like a number of reactions in the chat.
Uh-huh.
Like people are seeing this. People are like, this is what it's about. You get last place. There's a shame jersey. There's a
Mm-hmm.
ritual. And man, dusted, completely heartbroken by all this activity. But
It was
how are
very
you doing,
sad. I'm
Christian?
doing good. Just watched a crazy Pacers Eastern Conference Final game one. That was wild.
Nice.
So that was fun. I love that sports are still on and teams that I care about are still going. Not that I'm like a huge basketball fan, but it's fun. I do root for the Pacers, so it's fun to see them doing well and pretty heart-pounding action, if I don't say so.
Heart pounding action.
But I'm with you. Most of our dynasty drafts are done. I had a pretty good haul. I guess we probably should have done a review episode for the Jersey League, considering
Well, we
it's a
can just
super
do it
flex.
now. It's not too
Um,
late. We're pretty good at those review episodes.
yeah, just do three in a row. Is that?
That's what the
Uh...
people want.
But that's not what we're doing, or at least unless we're gonna pivot real quick. But that is not what we're doing
No.
today. Today we are talking about some players, some veterans. It's been rookie talk for a while, so we're gonna go back to the veteran talk. Going to talk about some veterans that benefited from the draft and some veterans that are on life support because of the draft. So, three plus guys and three minus guys after the draft this season. So, pretty self-explanatory. Just some guys that might have a harder go of it after some rookies inbound, or some guys that left skating pretty free and clear after the draft. So, you want to start positive or negative?
I always start positive.
Alrighty, so positive. You want to go first, or you want me to take
I
it?
guess so.
Okay, go
I
for it.
mean, I'm just going to start out by saying that it was a fun draft and there's a lot of skill position guys. It's a
Yeah.
pretty good shakeup, and it's impossible to know if these rookies are going to come in and shatter the competition level or not.
Hmm.
I'm reminded of, Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid and any Bills rookie that just didn't do anything. And so as we get excited about these guys and we start to think of what they can do to their teammates, competition level, their target shares, um, it's fun. It's fun to get excited. It's fun to make bets on vets
Hmm.
that have been impacted. But I think if we're going on the plus side, we're not betting against rookies. We're just thanking GMs for not drafting against our prospects, I think.
Mm.
And for me, a big name, a huge name. I've been a Chris Olave fan for a very long time, and I'm pumped about how the Saints participated in the draft with pretty much no activity in
Mm.
the wide receiver room whatsoever. Not even really in the tight end room. They just added a couple of running backs, Devin Neal and Marcus Yarns, and then they got Tyler Shuck and quarterback. So I guess hopefully that is a plus for Chris Olave. But really, for me, you're looking at Alvin Kamara,
Mm.
who was the highest targeted running back in the league last year. Only running back with more receptions than him was Devon Achane. So if you have Kamara and you have no additions to any pass catchers, then you're basically letting me know, as a Chris Olave fan, that you're not as concerned about the health as the rest of us could have been, because I think it was kind of a scary. People are trying to sell him because he didn't finish the year last year after having 119 targets as a rookie and then 138 in his second year. He didn't quite play half a season and only had 44 targets. So I think a lot of us got really concerned, but the Saints had six picks in the top four rounds, and they didn't do anything with the wide receiver room. And then they also picked up the fifth year option for Chris Olave. So it feels like he's going to get a massive workload coming his way. We know Derek Carr's gone. Um, and then Spencer Rattler, maybe probably not going to be the guy. I don't think Tyler Shuck is like, completely taking Chris Olave to, the moon or anything.
Mm.
But I think there is a stability with this whole team. And then you get the Kellen Moore hire in there. And I don't know, man. I think that people kind of got out a little iffy, a little scared on Chris Olave. But the way this team is behaving right now
Hmm.
indicates for me that he's going to have the opportunity to be an alpha wide receiver, and hopefully the health holds up. So I put him down as a big plus. I don't know if I'm buying any more shares of him. I got plenty, so I
That's
don't want to
fair.
get him like every league, even though he's a good buy right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, his health will hopefully hold up if he doesn't have Derek Carr throwing him into friggin'
Oh my
nightmare
God.
scenarios all the
Yeah.
time. I am, I'm worried about the quarterback play as a whole because, like you're saying, like even if they want him to be an alpha, if he's not getting the ball reliably, he's not going to be. Other thing is, have you seen any of these rumblings about a Pittsburgh trade for
I've
Olave?
heard about that. Yeah, quite a
So
bit.
that's pretty crazy. I don't know if that's just nonsense or what that is, but
Doesn't
um,
make sense,
it
but
doesn't make a ton of sense. But yeah, I mean, I like Olave still. I have hopes for him. Definitely one of those people that got kind of scared. And Um, I've tried to trade out of him, but haven't gotten the value that I think he's still worth. So I think there's still a little bit of me projecting him to be a superstar at some point for what I'm trying to get out of him. So I hope you're right. I definitely, you're right. The Saints didn't do anything to make us think otherwise. I mean, they brought in Donovan Peoples-Jones, and that was their only real addition to the wide receiver room. They
Yeah, they got
added,
Brandon Cooks in there.
oh yeah, sorry, Brandon Cooks coming back, but he's not going to affect Chris Olave.
No.
He honestly, he probably helps. And then they have Rashid Shaheed out of the slot, so yeah, not too bad. I like that one. That's smart. I'm gonna go to the running back room and let's go with the Washington Commanders.
Oh,
And let's talk about Brian Robinson for a second. So the Commanders were a team that I thought were definitely gonna take a running back in the draft, and they kind of did. The only new face they took for their RB room was seventh round rookie Ja'Cory Korsky Merritt, or however you want to pronounce it, who
you got it.
profiles more of a McNichols replacement, with McNichols getting pretty old. And then like Austin Eckler's 30 years old. So the split between Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson last year was 623 to 521 going Robinson's way. I think that percentage gets a little wider this season. I think we all kind of saw Eckler was starting to age out. He's hitting that dreaded 30 over or 30 years old, whereas Brian Robinson's only 26. I think this could be his last season where he's like truly relied on as a workhorse difference maker. But with the Washington offense now having Jaden Daniels in a second year, adding Debo Samuel, still having Scary Terry, Zach
Yep.
Ertz is still there over the middle. Like there's a lot of places they can go, and I think that could open it up. And they're still going to need somebody to pound the rock, and that guy's definitely Robinson. None of these other running backs are going to be able to be in those types of scenarios, the goal line work, the anything like that. And like I said, I just think Eckler is gonna start getting weaned out. Weirdly, the Commanders are kind of like an older team,
Yeah.
even though they're like new and fresh looking. So I just think Brian Robinson is gonna be. I don't know that he'll be like a top 12 RB or anything like that, but I could definitely see like a top 20 season for him.
Yeah, that's definitely someone that we thought would, I assumed would get some kind of competition out of the draft, but
Hmm.
like you're saying, he didn't. And I think that the only thing that gives me any hesitation with him is the Jaden Daniels rushing upside,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Cap. But I mean, you say that, but then his best season as far as touchdown scoring was last year. He got to 8 after going 2 and then 5 in his first 2 seasons. So I think that he has the potential to, just have an uncontested lead back role, like you're
Hmm.
saying, as he already has. So as long as they can balance that offense, they were really pass happy and twinkle toes happy if they can get that third dimension of the ground game back in place. Yeah, Robinson is a screaming value here with definitely no competition level whatsoever
Yeah.
coming out of the draft. So I don't
Yeah,
know
a
what
lot of
the
people are,
Decory is, but
yeah, waiver wire pickup darling, JCM. I'm not sure how that's gonna completely work out for people, but you never know.
yeah, he's a
So
wild card because he ran out of eligibility last year, and so he didn't
mhm.
really play. So it's kind of like nobody really knows what this guy's got to offer in
Yeah,
this situation. Uh,
absolutely. Oh, apologies to everyone. So do you want to go alternating and do some minus guys, or do we want to hit them with the plus and then hit them with the minus? What are you thinking?
I like the back and forth, man,
Okay.
a little bit of variety. So I'll just roll into another running back. And this one is going to be pretty clear and obvious. I'm not really changing anybody's mind about what's going on here, but Jerome Ford,
Yeah.
he got kicked in the nuts pretty hard there by the NFL draft with the 1-2. Quinshon Judkins and then the Dylan Sampson. That's pretty heavy to contend with when you're looking at this offense that is traditionally wanting to have a guy to lean on. This kind of threw me off a little bit. I kind of chased forward a little bit just because he had himself a fairly decent year last year. I mean,
Uh-huh.
his PFF, he's top 15 on the grades, and he's top five in yards per attempt. But then he didn't really get much done, only three touchdowns, and he was under 600 yards. So he's never really had the workhorse type role, but I thought maybe he was going to get a partner, a 1A, 1B situation based off of some of the, kind of bright spots he's had throughout his career. But I don't think that. I mean, he might be. It might be one of those weird situations where he's the starter for a game or two until some second quarter rookie runs make it clear that he isn't the guy,
Hmm.
and then by the end of the season, Samson even is leapfrogging him, probably getting goal line work. So it's just you can fight one rookie, but you can't stack up against multiple rookies, in my opinion. It's just kind of a rough draw for him. Let's see what happens, but I don't know, man. You got any hope at all for him coming out of this situation where he's got
No.
a second rounder and then a fourth rounder, another top 130 rookie in there too?
No, and I mean the premium draft capital alone says that he's not going to have a chance. He's on a contract year. That was a clear indication that they have no interest in signing him. Is he a trade candidate potentially? That could be an interesting conversation we could have.
Sure.
But even so, like I don't know how good the Browns are going to be on offense anyway. So with the limited spread to go around already from having to fight off these rookies, and then the limited spread from just probably not advancing the ball too often. I just don't, yeah, I don't see a scenario where Ford is going to be really viable this year. I mean, you never know, maybe weeks one and two, but it's not like Judkins doesn't slide in and kind of immediately seem like I feel like he'll just slide in and immediately be good. Uh,
Yeah, no, like,
his
yeah,
game
by
isn't
week
like
three, he'll
crazy.
be the
Yeah,
starter and
like,
maybe week one, but
yeah,
I don't know. Jerome Ford's best hope is to be like the next Zach Moss. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of sad as that sounds.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, so I'm gonna do minus here. I'm gonna do a sad one so that we get it out of the way
oh,
early.
oh.
And that's Tank Dell. Obviously super electric player, super fun to watch. Was a guy or at least I thought we both liked coming out, other than his size we were worried about. But super fun to watch college tape, and then came into the NFL and was crushing it. But two back-to-back years with brutal injuries. And he was kind of like replaced twice this offseason.
Mhm.
Christian Kirk comes in through a trade, and then Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins come in through the draft.
Sure.
And, Dell's injuries kept him off the field, but I don't see room for him anymore, even when he is healthy. I think it speaks to the Texans' like idea of how he's going to look. I mean, you were talking about Olave and them maybe not being as concerned because they didn't draft anybody. Well, this is a team that spent their first and third draft pick on a wide receiver. And surprisingly, Dell has spent a lot of time outside. Over 70% of his snaps in the NFL have been outside, but I don't see him beating Jaden Higgins out for that number two outside role. It doesn't really make sense. So then you think, okay, well, he's a smaller guy. Maybe they slide him into the slot. Well, Christian Kirk has spent 56 of his career in the slot and over 70% in all three of his seasons with Jacksonville. And Jalen Noel's entire college career, 70% of his time was spent in the slot. Noel is bigger, so you hope the injury risk is a little less. I mean, he's got 30 pounds on Tank Dell, and he's big and he's more explosive than Tank Dell. And again, he was a third round pick, their third overall pick. They had 2 seconds, and the other one was spent on Jaden Higgins. It's just it's a way more crowded room now. And while I have my concerns about like say the offensive line in Houston kind of limiting all these guys' production a lot like it did last year for Houston, other than Nico Collins. Um, there is something to be said that like Nico Collins has also had an injury history, so maybe they're planning for potentially Collins to be out, and then Jaden Higgins replaces him. Then you put Dell outside. But with the addition of Kirk and trading for Kirk, even, I mean, I know they didn't trade,
Yeah.
they traded
Wasn't a lot of
peanuts.
wide receiver trades going on, just as
Yeah. I just think even if Dell comes back and is part of the offense, he was certainly not going to get the amount of work that he was getting before he got hurt.
no. No, I mean it seems like they're just gonna keep rolling, you know what I mean? It's like one of
Hmm.
those like, all right, we're stopping and the train leaves in 5 minutes, and if you're not on it, you're getting left at the station or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's I guess that's probably smart. You try to, I don't know, who knows? Houston has been up and down in their organization, but you think that you just got to do the smart thing with all the talent that fell to them in the draft at the wide receiver position. It feels like they are willing to hedge their bets big time,
Hmm.
and Tank Dell, who, I mean, if he gets healthy and wants to play explosive football, then I bet he's out there. But I don't think that they're necessarily counting on it, like you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think so either, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, sweet. I guess we go to the positive after dipping into the minus there. Yeah, I mentioned there weren't a ton of wide receiver trades, but there actually were, between there was oh no, what am I doing here? We just had George Pickens traded, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the outcome of Debo Samuels getting traded, and then of course we also had DK Metcalf. So there were quite a few trades going on. Cooper Cup in there, maybe. I might be missing more. I'm doing a horrible job
Well,
telling you guys about wide receiver trades.
Cup was cut.
Cup was cut. There you go. So his cup runneth over. But I think that in my next positive, I really wanted to focus on Brandon Ayuk,
Mm,
but in reality, it's kind of a anybody in San Francisco that's a pass catcher because, yeah, I mean, Devo is out. He's in Washington now. And, there was some work. Jordan Watkins was a draft pick in the fourth round for them in the wide receiver room, but I'm not seeing that as a huge threat
mm,
when you've got Brandon Ayuk. He's got the money coming his way. He had an injury last year, but 3 out of his 5 years, he's led the 49ers in receiving work, and that's beating out George Kittle, that's beating out Debo. And he's pushing for major targets. He's averaging 110 targets per 17 game season and 1,000 yards in there. And so in my opinion, not having to contend as much with Debo is just going to give him the opportunity to take a step forward and push maybe to the 130, 150 target range. If Brock Purdy can get some accuracy back and this offense can keep rolling and do some more work through the air, depending on how, CMC does. If he just hogs all the work, then that's a whole
hmm.
nother story. But to me, I think that Brandon Ayuk and then Ricky Parasol as well get a huge bump on how this all went down. Juwan Jennings, you got to give him some credit. He stepped up in a big way with the injuries last year and hit a huge target volume, but I don't think that's really what the team wants to do. I don't think that's sustainable. And then the efficiency that Parasol had was pretty outstanding.
Mm.
So I think that he can slot in to fill some of that Debo role, but there's nobody out there that's going to be taking Brandon Ayuk down from being this team's leader. And so I think that he's kind of getting undervalued right now. He's sitting at the keep trade cut wide receiver 36.
Oh wow.
And yeah, without any competition coming in the draft, I think that's kind of crazy. And he's actually behind Ricky Parasol on that list,
Mm.
2 spots, which I find to be strange. They're only 2.5 years age difference, but you can tell me if I'm wrong on that. But I don't know,
I
man. I think these 49er wideouts are getting a little overlooked right now.
I agree. I think the Ayuk stuff is just the injury. We don't know how he's going to look coming back off the injury, and then the weird. all season, are they going to trade him rumors before he got hurt. I think it's just got people sour. And then just the 49ers weren't amazing last year, but I do see them bouncing back. I see both Ayuk and Parasol being pretty effective,
Yeah.
unless Brock Purdy just really can't play now that he got paid, which I don't see that happening either.
I
So
don't know, man. You never know.
I'm excited for Parasol, but I mean that's just because I have him in for the belt, so I'm hoping that he comes out and is usable. But I mean, yeah, Ayuk was a guy that was absolutely crushing it. He was like a top 10 wide receiver the year he got paid or something like that.
Mhm.
I believe.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it's top. Go ahead.
no, you're good. So yeah, I absolutely could see Brandon Ayuk being A, you're right, he's being slept on, but B, I think he could absolutely end up being a major, major factor for the 49ers. Uh yeah, he was the wide receiver 14, sorry. So top
Yep.
15 wide receiver, which is still incredible, 1,300 yards that year.
Yeah, he
So
was top 15 in 2022 as well. So back to back
yeah.
top 15 years before last year.
And I think he also started off a little slow last year, so maybe that's just got people's mouth. I don't know. People just have a weird taste in their mouth for the
Well, they
Niners
took
right now.
Parasol in the first, and it was like, oh, but
Yeah,
and then so everyone thought Ayuk, blah blah blah, then the injury, but like really, apparently it was, they
Debo.
knew they weren't keeping everybody, and Debo was the guy that was out, so it's
Yeah,
it's all green lights here for the rest of these dudes.
yeah, 100%. I'm gonna stay in the NFC West and stay with the receivers. Um, I'm gonna go plus on Marvin Harrison Jr. I thought the Cardinals probably could have used some juice in the wide receiver room, and they spent or six of seven of their draft picks on the defensive side of the ball, which does make sense. They had a bad defense last year, so they're trying to reinvigorate that. But it just leaves Marvin Harrison Jr. with the clear road to being their wide receiver one. I mean, he was last year 116 targets for a rookie is incredible. It was second on the team, first in the wide receiver room, obviously second to Mr. Trey
Trey McBrizzle.
McBride. 865 snaps was like 100 and so more than any other wide receiver in the room. No draft picks were spent on wide receiver, and the only free agent they brought in was RDR legend Simi Fehoko.
Simi Fehoko, baby.
Not really a threat. And then like I think I just need to reel the world in for a second and be like, guys, 62 catches for 885 yards and eight touchdowns is actually a good rookie year. Like
Yeah,
he was not a bust.
not
And
even a little bit.
I know he had the hype of his dad, and then you saw like Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. outperform him, which does make it is sad, you want to see Harrison be on that same level, but he had a good year. It's not like he had a bad year. There was just
Yeah,
some
don't count
games.
him out.
Yeah, he was up and down. Like if you could buy Marvin Harrison Jr. low, I don't know if anybody's selling him yet, but I would do that in a heartbeat. He's the clear number one in the wide receiver room there. I don't think he's going to see any dip in targets. In fact, I could even see him getting closer to Trey McBride. I don't think Trey McBride's going anywhere, but you would
Oh.
hope a more efficient offense in year two with Jonathan Gannon. And I think Harrison can really emerge as a real asset for you going forward.
Yes, I think so as well. That's a slam dunk. I hope people are sleeping on him. It would be great for those people's future regret,
Yeah.
because that's a bad call. I mean, his competition is Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson, and
Hmm.
the running back room. While James Conner, pretty cool. Trey Benson disappointed as a rookie, and I think that the team's going to be leaning on him. Obviously, Trey McBride's awesome, and we're all systems go there. But I think Harrison has a big opportunity to be the leading sophomore out there in
Hmm.
the wide receiver room. No offense, Malik Neighbors, but there's a lot more stability for him than Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors are looking at right now with the Cardinals. So
I hear you. I like it. I like it a lot.
okay, well, apparently all my pluses are NFC and all my minuses are
Yeah,
AFC.
fuck the
So
AFC.
fuck the AFC, and I'm gonna fuck the West right now, my own division. here, but I'm going with Trey Tucker. Okay. And
Yeah.
I know people are like, who is Trey Tucker? And if you don't know, no, I'm just joking. We all know Trey Tucker's wide out for the Raiders, and I like him. I do. I really like him. He's only 24. He's coming off the wide receiver 58 season, and he had some wildly inconsistent targets for like 8 targets, 9 target games, and then a bunch of 2 target games, and only 3 scores. So just wildly inconsistent, but he played extremely well and he seemed to be growing. Last year was his second year, and I thought he was growing into a solid player. I thought maybe he could use a better quarterback, some consistency there, and a proper coach. So when, Gino and Pete showed up, Pino, as we call them, I was like, this is great, man. This is a waiver pickup I had kind of across the board in my leagues, and I thought for sure he was going to hit. And then what happened? The Raiders took 2 wide receivers in the draft, and they took the second rounder, Jack Besh, who I think everybody knows about. People are getting hot in the pants on this guy. The rookie draft capital just keeps growing. So people are excited about him. And then in the fourth round, they went and got let's see, Dante Thornton. And I think, and this is where I go weird. Okay. I'm talking about how Trey Tucker got deuced on heavily here by
Mhm.
the double picks, but I'm getting hot on Thornton, and I'm worried about Trey. And I haven't quite seeked out all of the Thornton shares that I would like to. But I'm starting to look at this guy, and you know him, we know him, folks know him, but he's getting overshadowed by the Besh situation.
Mhm.
But last year he had 25 and a half yards per catch. And then with 2 schools over 4 years, he is averaging 22 yards per catch.
Mhm.
And I mean, you put him on a team that just drafted Ashton Genty,
Yeah.
who's going to be bringing in the box, going to get the secondary cheating up. And then you put this guy who is like an insane deep threat out there in little spot starts. Whew. And I'm looking, yeah, call me crazy, but this guy 4 to 6, half dozen maybe TDs over 30 yards as a
Okay.
rookie. I mean, it sounds crazy, but the way this offense is built, you got Trey Tucker. Oh boy, I'm so excited about him. You got Jack Besh. You got Jacoby Myers. You got Brock Bowers. One of his names doesn't belong, and Trey is not the deep ball whiz. So he's got another threat in Thornton to keep him off the field.
Yeah.
And I think it's over for the guy. I'm getting hot on this Thornton thing. I gotta cool my jets, dude. I gotta pick him up a couple of leagues just in case I'm right, but I'm feeling like this guy's going to be a little lightning. These guys are both 185 pounds, except Trey Tucker's 5'8" and Thornton's 6'5", so it's a little bit
Yeah.
different. But I'm just thinking Tucker's out of a role on this offense.
Yeah, and I mean, you just said it. You hit the nail on the head. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. That one of these, they do the same thing, kind of. Trey Tucker ran a 4.4, was their deep threat last year, but Thornton ran a 4.3 and is 6'5" compared to a
Yeah,
guy that's 5'8". Like that's at the end of the day, as much as we don't want it to be sometimes, that's going to matter. And once you, yeah, like you're saying, Myers is the clear wide receiver one. Jack Besh is the number two outside guy. You've got Thornton as your deep threat, Brock Bowers as your do it all in the slot, everything generational guy, and then you got Ashton Genty, who they're going to give the ball to 20 times a game. So there is no room for a Trey Tucker, unfortunately, and I don't think you're crazy to get in on this Dante Thornton stuff. I think you should grab him. I would grab him in some leagues.
incredible.
I probably should have in some, and yeah, I like this. This is smart. It does suck for Trey Tucker. He was fun to watch, but yeah, Thornton is probably going to eat everything that he has left.
Whew, big time, big time. All right. What is
uh,
it? 100% unclaimed, except for one league.
I am gonna say stay in the AFC West. This one's gonna be pretty quick because
Okay.
it's pretty simple. Najee Harris.
Boosh.
as a minus. Najee Harris got a huge boost when he signed with the Chargers, and then Amari Hampton was a first round pick, and Jim Harbaugh looked like he had the best orgasm of his life when it happened.
His
And they
resting O face.
yeah, and they fill a very similar role, but Amarian Hampton is younger, he's more explosive, and he has amazing draft capital. Uh, Najee Harris was a 1 year deal. By the end of the year, if not middle of the year, if not sooner than that, Amarian Hampton's going to be the starter for the Los Angeles Chargers, and Najee Harris is going to be a wham bam, thank you for your 1 year of service.
Straight up.
Go wherever you need to go. So it just like the rise and the roller coaster for the value on Najee Harris. I feel bad for all those people that went out and traded for him as soon as he signed with the Chargers because I think he'll be irrelevant by the end of the year.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I feel like we've seen it before. First round rookie comes in and you get obsoleted pretty quick. He was kind of that guy for a second in Pittsburgh, but now it's about to happen to him. So good call, Najee. 1 year, that's the good thing. At least he's not going to be camping for two,
Yeah,
3 years behind this guy. He'll have an opportunity to hopefully make some splashes and get another chance somewhere that's a little more desperate.
yeah.
So he should have gone to Chicago, but could have been all right. Or he should have gone to Dallas. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Dallas would have been a good place for him.
Would have been fun.
Here we go. Stretch of a lifetime. I've got my last plus. It's Javonte Williams.
Mm.
Now, this is painful for me to say it, and I don't even know if I believe it, but I put it all here, and you guys can tell me at the end if I sound like I'm lying to myself. Um, but yeah, he's a Dallas Cowboy.
Mm.
Congratulations. He's on a 1 year, $3 million deal. So that's good for him. He can go get one of those Mercedes G63s or whatever. Uh, now, as long as somebody wants his jersey number soon. But anyway, they went ahead and they picked Jaden Blue. Okay,
Mhm.
so we're in the fifth round at the 149th pick. And you and I, we both liked Blue a
Yeah.
lot. But the one thing that stood out to us is that 5 fumbles on 134 carries last year. There's only one player in college ball that had six carries or 6 fumbles, and that dude had 100 more carries. So this is pretty potent as far as the fumble game goes. But he had speed, good play style. We liked it a lot. But with those ball security issues and just the general roster construction here for the Cowboys, I think Javante is just secured the opening lead back role for the
Yeah.
season. And I mean, they brought in Miles Sanders as well. Not really feeling that as a threat. Deuce Vaughn, I mean, that's kind of still fun to say.
Mhm.
They brought in the Clemson running back as the seventh round pick. There's plenty of fish in the sea here.
Mhm.
But for Javante, I think that he represents a clear starting role without a lot of competition. And it's kind of silly because it's the way the draft fell. The Ohio State guys, Henderson and Judkins, went, around 5 to 10 picks before Dallas's second pick.
Mhm.
So if that had gone a different way and they got one of the Buckeyes, I wouldn't be having this conversation. I would be
True.
completely scared that Javante was never going to maybe even take a snap with the Cowboys. But the way it's built, I'm not scared of Sanders. I'm not scared of Vaughn. I am scared of Blue, but I don't think that he profiles as a guy that's going to threaten as a lead back in his first year. He's got to prove it, I think,
Yeah.
in a big way. And the Cowboys have routinely given well over 200 carries to a lead back while still supporting a 100 carry secondary back. So I think that there's opportunity for both these guys to eat, but for Javante to have a similar workload to anything he's ever seen in Denver. And even though he's coming off of less than 40 yards per carry the past few years, and he's never had more than 4 rushing touchdowns in a single season, I think that the Dallas offense offers a larger upside for a running back than Denver's format has over the past several years. So there's plenty of things that scare the shit out of me about this guy. Like the longest run in 146 carries last year was only 20 yards,
Oof.
which is insane. That's very sad. His elusivity rating was 37. That's not a 100-point scale. That goes up very high, and he is at 37. So
Yikes.
there's just a ton to worry about, but I feel like this is a clear path to starting a very, very, I mean, the best you could ask for as far as second chances go, for him to rebrand himself. And I think if anyone has ever believed in this guy, this is the moment we're waiting for. There's no bullshit. It's just his opportunity to go out there and shine. And I think he can do it, man. So I'm in on him. I think this is a big plus for him. He's definitely a buy low type opportunity here, and I don't think you're going to lose too much cost if he doesn't work out. But I
Yeah.
think there's a pretty good chance that he could be serviceable.
I wouldn't be that surprised. I mean, this is a guy we both loved coming out of college out of North Carolina, and you're right, the opportunity's there. I feel like the Cowboys are just going to throw the ball 1,000 times a game,
Oh yeah,
which that could honestly still, like you mentioned, help Javante with having that offense be very pass heavy. He could kind of sneak through sometimes. I hope you're right. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I would buy him low, I suppose. But
yeah.
I
He's
don't.
sitting at 48, right next to Devin Neal right now.
Oh, see, yeah, he definitely is going to have a better season than Devin Neal. I mean, come on. But yeah, I mean, I like the fit in terms of opportunity, and like Jaden Blue did seem like he needed some sculpting to really make a difference in the NFL. So, at least early on, I think Javante could definitely get a decent workload. So. Before I get into my last plus, I'm going to throw out just a few honorable mentions really quickly here. There were three quarterbacks that I thought got a lot of help. Bryce Young, he gets Tet, a major number one target for him, with a huge wingspan. Caleb Williams, the with the Luther Burden and the Colson Loveland and the Ben Johnson of it all, and then the hopefully better offensive line. I will say everyone just penciling in that they're going to be better. Like, I feel like it's worth noting that they traded for a guy on the Chiefs when the Chiefs just got absolutely obliterated in the Super Bowl because their offensive line play, and they didn't want him. That seems weird. And then
Yeah.
the Rams also just signed Jonah Jackson last year. And if I'm not mistaken, either benched him or were talking about benching him because he wasn't a good workout, or he wasn't really working out, and then you traded for that guy too. Like, just penciling in that the Bears offensive line is definitely going to be way better seems a bit of a stretch to me, but maybe that's just my Packers hater coming out. I just think those are two question marks, but whatever. In theory, way better situation for Caleb Williams. I mean, the weapons are insane, and the coach should be, if he,
Insane.
yeah, remains one of the best play callers that he was in Detroit. And then CJ Stroud, kind of already talked about it with Higgins and Noel and Kirk. So those were good. Jerry Jeudy got no competition brought in,
Yes.
but who's going to play quarterback? That's a big question. And then going back to the Bears real quick, DeAndre Swift, all
Yeah.
offseason, all we heard was that the Bears hate him and they're going to replace him instantly. And unless Monangai was that guy to do it, it seems like he's going to be a fit with the Bears at least for one more year. So those were just some honorable mentions for pluses for me. But the guy I want to get into here is Tony Pollard, or Tajay Spears, if you're still holding on to that. I am for a little bit. And there's some reasons why we'll get into it for a second, but mostly Tony Pollard. The Titans, presumably got better with the Cam Ward pick and the weapons they brought in throughout the draft. They still have Calvin Ridley. They bring in Tyler Lockett. They bring in Alec Manor, Chamari DK, Xavier Restrepo, if you want to go real deep. I don't think they're going to be that much better, though. I still think this is a rebuilding year for the Titans, and then who knows on the Cam Ward of it all. Uh, and last year, Pollard and Spears had basically a 60-40 split all season. There was some periods where Spears missed 5 games, and the split went way heavier in Pollard's favor during those games. They didn't really bring in a third guy. Uh, and Spears got outsnapped 701 to 320 with Pollard last season, which is a pretty significant. Out targeted 57 targets for Pollard, 35 targets for Spears. Pollard is turning 28 or has turned 28, and Spears is still only 23. So you could see
Oof.
Spears emerge. But either way, the RB room looks clean and clear for these two guys. The only real competition brought in was sixth round pick Khalil Mullins, and player profiler compares him to Hassan Haskins. So
Yeah.
it seems like the Titans are just running that back. Um, Tony Pollard was more efficient in 2024 than Spears. It is worth noting that he only had 19 more missed forced tackles than Spears on 176 more carries than him. So I don't know. Spears still has that juice. If he didn't get hurt, maybe the split would have been even closer. But I just think, regardless of who it is who's leading that room, with the Titans potentially being scarier on offense for defenses to deal with Cam Ward and his ability to just rocket the ball anywhere on the field, having some more versatile weapons, and they still have Traylon Burks kicking around there. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but
Nothing.
um, there are some pieces here that could make this offense interesting, and then nothing really to say that the RB room for the Titans won't get the exact same, or if not more, amount of work than it did last season.
Yeah, well, hopefully it will get less work because they have a quarterback that doesn't completely suck, but yet to be determined. Yeah, there's definitely not feeling any heat from Mullins. I do want to say Traylon Burks did not get his fifth year option picked up.
Surprise.
I have a bone to pick with Sleeper for some of these kind of chicken shitty updates, but like I got zero fifth year option notifications.
Oh yeah, that's silly.
Because, yeah, that all just happened. The deadline was May 1st, so
Mm,
check them out. It was a good class. A lot of them got picked up, not Traylon Burks. But yeah, I think Pollard, he's kind of seeming like a juggernaut, man. He's like kind of, I don't know, Energizer Bunny. He's not slowing down,
yeah.
just hiding behind Zeke, and now he's out there just running the show. Tennessee is nothing to write home about. I don't really see that changing this year. But if he ever got on a productive offense, he could be scary.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a plus here that they're definitely not wavering on his ability to lead this offense.
Hmm.
So good call.
Thanks.
Shall I
Well, you got a
minus?
last minus for us?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I did it. I went with Jalen Warren.
Hmm.
So maybe low hanging fruit. For me, the dust has not settled at all in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like, is Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers' train pulling into the station?
Who
Is
knows?
he like George Pickens just got traded? That seems late, the post-draft trade like that. And you got to imagine, hey, Olave, I don't know, probably more likely Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, one of these
Hmm.
bridge the gap type wide receivers going to end up here. Um, but really, the way this team looks right now, they don't have much of anything in the passing world. You got DK Metcalf with the possibility of Will Howard or Mason Rudolph throwing you the ball. So for me, it's the ground pound in Pittsburgh. Same story, just different faces.
Hmm.
And I don't know if we can count on the winning season streak to continue, but I definitely know we can count on Caleb Johnson to be all over the place, being the lead guy here.
Yeah.
I don't know what. To me, it feels like Najee Harris was a player that this team like inherited,
Yeah.
They clearly drafted him high first round and then never, I don't know, they never really hit it off, I guess. They never fell in love. Um, but now it's like, oh, the moment we've been waiting for, Caleb
Hmm.
Johnson, he's our guy. We finally got the guy. And that's kind of what it feels like to me. It's kind of crazy. But over the past 3 years, Najee was right at 4 yards per carry, and Warren was there the whole time and
Yeah.
couldn't even bump out a 1/3 carry share. He was never able to get to 50% of the touch count of Najee. So now we get a thumper like Johnson in here. I think it's going to be the same situation, but even worse. I think that Johnson hits the ground running. He kind of takes off in ways that Najee wasn't able to click, and then there's no passing game. So I don't know. I don't see Warren being much more than a little bit of a change of pace type guy. And like I said, this could be just obvious stuff. But Keep Trade Cut does have Warren's value similar to Aaron Jones, which is killing
Oof.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that at
Aaron
all.
Jones perennially slept on.
Like, what are we doing? It's very sad. I can't say the other names around because they actually make sense, but the Aaron Jones is right adjacent to him on the list, so I had to throw
Hmm.
that out there. Um, but yeah, I don't think that Warren's going to be much of a guy to be excited about. I know he's carried a lot of steam over the
Yeah.
past couple of seasons from having pop, but I think his day in the sun is kind of done.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'm a big Caleb Johnson guy, have been all off season, was super glad to get him at least in one draft. So like it's easy for me to sit here and say that Caleb Johnson should take that role over. And I do think, even though obviously Caleb Johnson had the disappointing 40 time, I think his tape, he plays a lot faster. Ironically, I just noticed this that he had the exact same 40 time as Najee Harris, which is pretty crazy. Uh, but on tape, he looks a lot faster. So I think they got more explosive. And Warren, like you're saying, Warren's just kind of, he's a great number two back to have. But I just think once Caleb Johnson gets the ball rolling, I think, yeah, he'll be right back to where he was in that role.
Hell yeah, bring it on, man. Plus Trey Sermon's with Pittsburgh now,
Oh,
so
shit.
it's
So that's the number
over
two back. Yep.
for sure. Number one.
All right, same thing here. I'm gonna get into some honorable mentions on the minus side real quick. Tyrone Tracy, I've talked about it enough, but we got Boy coming in there.
Scataway.
Coming in there to just make him look silly, I think, at some point. Quentin Johnston, Trey Harris replaces any progress that Johnston was making.
For sure.
And basically, he just is now the third option on a team that runs the ball a lot. So I'm not like that experiment seems over. Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland's coming in and is just going to take his receiving value away from him instantly, I think. Noah Fant, Elijah Arroyo has already been talking about how the coaches want to line him up and use him all over the field and use him as like a secret kind of joker weapon, like Sean Payton was talking about. So I like that, and the Noah Fant experiment's over. And then Romeo Dobbs, I'll throw out. I just think with Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Savion Williams, Christian Watson when he comes back, and then Dontavian Wicks, of those guys with Dobbs thrown in there, like who's the odd man out? I think it's very clearly Dobbs. Um, he doesn't have the separation skills that Wicks has. Wicks obviously can't catch a ball to save his life, so that's an issue. He doesn't have the speed that Golden or Watson has. He doesn't play in the slot as well as Jaden Reed or have the versatility of Savion Williams. So he just kind of becomes the fourth guy in the mix, a reliable fourth guy, one of your great, like probably the best, if not one of, if not the best third or fourth receiver that you could have. But I just don't think that like fantasy viability is going to be found with Romeo Dobbs. I think he might even get traded at some point. Wouldn't
Hope
surprise
so.
me that much. Um, but yeah, so I just wanted to throw him out there too. But getting into my last guy, it is a running back for the New England Patriots. It is Ramondre Stevenson. He's hitting the dreaded 27 years old for running backs. He handled 62% of the snaps last year for New England, with Gibson handling 33%. But it's the Trevion Henderson of it all. It's the massive draft capital, 38th overall was spent on Ramondre or on Trevion Henderson. And then when you look at this offense, it should be better this season. The coaching got better. And then you have a coach that wants to run the ball a lot, and then he spent the 38th overall pick on a running back. That should, key there. The line presumably is getting better. The weapons have gotten better. The defense has gotten better. Drake May in a second season should be a little better. So this offense should be moving a little bit more. And then you look at even though Ramondre had 62% of the snaps, he only out targeted Gibson by 12 targets in 2024. And I think that's an area where Henderson could feast. He had 10 yards a catch last season. He didn't have to show it off all that much, but he was splitting a lot of time with Judkins. And I think his receiving skills and like, I just think he has a lot of juice as a pass catcher. He has a lot of juice just all around. And I just think, along with some of these other guys, like, I think Henderson is going to immediately replace Antonio Gibson at the very least and take 33% of the work. And then could replace Stevenson likely by the end of the year, if not sooner. I just think he adds so much more juice that once he starts going and they see how he can just change a drive instantaneously, some similar to like a Jahmyr Gibbs does. Uh, I don't know. I think this would be hard to keep him off the field.
Yeah, I'm with you. For the longest time, I mean, I liked Stevenson, and he was surprisingly good there at the end of the Belichick era. But I blame Mac Jones for a lot of his poor performance. You know, he was just missing him on dump offs, and it felt like there was a lot of meat on the bone. But then you stabilize with Drake May, and you don't see the improvement. You give him the contract. It just doesn't happen. And then, yeah, new coach, Vrabel in the house, getting Henderson in there, and it's another situation where the team is very clear about the direction they're going in, and you know, the best Ramondre can do is just carve out a supplemental role in this backfield because he's not the future, obviously. So it's definitely getting kicked in the shorts by the Henderson pick.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. I know I was of the RDR boys, original RDR boys. This was way back then. I
Yeah.
was the lowest on Stevenson coming out of the draft, but it was good to see him do well. But I just think those days are almost definitely over. So there you have it. There are some three pluses and three or six pluses and six minuses from the NFL draft veteran status. That was a mouthful. That didn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying. You just listen to the whole show. So yeah, we're gonna get into some more content. We are hitting the off-season stride. Eventually, we're gonna do our divisional episodes, probably get a little running back breakdown in there at some point, I'd imagine. But
Yeah.
until all of that, we've been Rough Draft Research. You've been the audience, and we'll see you next time.
Stay awesome, everybody.
I took a lease out on